Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Barlow B Theorizing, and welcome back to the Barlow Zone, home of the one and only demon hunter King Kaido himself sent to Azeroth. How's everybody doing today? I hope y'all excited. Man, I don't know what it was this week. Maybe the websites are doing something a little different, but I took a gamble and I lost. I apologize. I know it's been about 5 days since my last video, so I do apologize to anybody who was expecting that other one. I have a rocks video ready to go. That will be my next video here in a couple days. I'm not going to get another chapter till next week, so no reason to put that one off. But I will be coming through with that rocks video as promised. I was expecting the chapter yesterday, and the scheduled release for the rocks video was the day before. I didn't want back-to-back days, so I do ask for your guys' forgiveness. I will do my best to make sure I'm sticking to the 2 to 3 day schedule just to give y'all something fresh to talk and think about, But man, 1160 was, it was no 1159. We'll be honest here, but 1160 was a wild ride. Now, as always, I'm not here to do a chapter review. Just mention a couple of things, and hey, I apologize if y'all caught that clearing my throat. That was really rude. But I just like to talk about a few things that really caught my attention, right? Because I'll be honest, reading through most of the chapter, most of the thoughts I was having was like, okay, everybody's gonna kind of be talking about this, right? I'm not gonna be able to bring anything new to the table if I'm just mimicking the same things that Liam or Sai or Brago or Matt, all of them are talking about. Parroting them isn't going to give y'all anything new to talk about. So I do want to, I guess, cover one thing real quick. I'm sure, I don't know, I've been watching Matt's channel long enough. I feel kind of safe. I haven't watched his video. It is up. If you guys want a full review, feel free to go check him out. But I do feel like when I watch his video, I'm going to hear something about the potential that this we're seeing the origin story of that straw hat that Emu has locked up, right? And he might even mention this other part about, is this one of Saul's relatives? Is Saul part of that Davy clan? Maybe. I mean, he a big boy. He got some giant in him, but giants are, already, Buccaneers are already half giant, right? So, he could be what would we call it? A 3/4 Buccaneer? Like 3/4 giant, half whatever else the Buccaneers were bred with. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. These background characters, you got one that kind of looks like Saul, and you got another big dude, kind of looks like what we've been shown images of Joy Boy. I mean, if I'm being honest, like this guy resembles the pictures that we've seen of Joy Boy up till this point, including the straw hat. So potentially a direct descendant of the original Joy Boy. Maybe. Now I'm gonna let Matt talk about that one, because like I said, I'm pretty sure he's gonna spend some time there. And anybody who's been around my channel is probably going to be expecting this next part, but I got to talk about Himaki D. Chadkin. Yes, I'm remixing the phrase I like to use, Himothy Chadson. That dude, the GOAT, is dragon, man. Like, oh man, dude, this panel got me, because not only does it seem like it's the beginnings of that mind frame that will go on to shape the Revolutionary Army, right? The RA. But, I sent a message to my friend on Discord, because, I love talking about Dragon. I've been talking about him a lot here on the channel. I don't want to tire you guys out. But in the process of typing up the message with this panel, I got to thinking, like, not only is this likely the reason behind the mind state and the formation of the Revolutionary Army, right? It's almost certainly also the reason behind Dragon's cold, emotionless demeanor now. Because we can say with pretty reliable certainty he fails this mission. Now, as I've pitched before in my theory about Dragon, there is the chance, I do still hold to that one, that Dragon is going to find a way to quote unquote save Shanks, right? By setting up the situation where, or allowing Shanks to get away from the celestial dragons. But it does seem like Shamrock ended up back with Garling. So, you know, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Dragon's philosophical bend is, if you will. You know, glass half empty, glass half full. Because if he saves Shanks but fails to save Shamrock, will he think of himself as a failure? And I am going to say yes. Mostly because I am kind of starting to entertain the thought that Dragon isn't the reason Shanks ends up in that treasure chest that Goldie Roger's gonna find. There's a chance. Like, Dragon might just outright fail this mission entirely, being unable to save either of the babies. But with a failure, it explains the cold, emotionless man that we have currently in the story. The man who felt like he couldn't, you know, raise his son properly. Because, here, I'm going to quote the line real quick. "You and your children may be strangers to me, but I want to help. If I can't do that much, then I've no business standing here." No business standing here seems like the relevant takeaway from that sentence, right? Because, yeah, Dragon is the most wanted criminal in the world, and that epithet is putting itself together brilliantly, right? Like, dude just shot a celestial dragon. Yes, it was with a tranquilizer dart, but I mean, these celestial dragons are savage. You know, they might off-dude themselves just to blame it on Dragon. But even aside from that, we'll just assume that homeboy gets back up, right? It was just the tranquilizer. He gets up like, "Hey, where did Kuma go? I had that Buccaneer brat in my sights. What happened?" That paired with kidnapping the children of a God's Knight, yeah, that world's most wanted criminal is really putting itself together at this point. But no business standing here, just it keeps ringing in my head, because while he may be the leader, the known leader, the printed in the press leader of the Revolutionary Army, right? Ivankov and Kuma, you could argue, had just as much of an impact, if not more, because they were active out in the world with these islands during the formation of the RA, right? And then Sabo now is kind of the face and the one that a lot of these new islands are rallying behind. No business standing here really feels relevant, because God's honest truth, Nika's honest truth, Dragon might consider himself a failure, really feel like in the depths of his soul, he doesn't deserve to stand here and fight to save these people, because he wasn't even able to save 2 babies from a battlefield. Failing this mission, as well as taking it in the first place, is, man, like, just adds a whole extra level of depth to the importance of the God Valley incident, right? Because it's the downfall of Rocks. It's where Roger really begins to make his come up. It's where Garp becomes the hero of the Marines. So many important details. Kuma, Ivankov, and Kaido all get their devil fruits in this moment. All these important people and important events are happening, right? And then double down by also making it the reason behind the formation of the Revolutionary Army and the most impactful moment in Dragon's life, like so much so that 39 years later, it's still resonating with him. It's still in the back of his head. And like, man, I couldn't save those babies. I don't deserve to be the person that these people are rallying behind. I'm just going to let them down. And that would explain that, like I said, cold, emotionless demeanor where it's just all business with this man. But he's always looking east, right? Like he's, even though he believes he is a failure, he still longs for that connection with his son that, you know, maybe he never had with Garp. Maybe he wanted to do better than his dad and ended up doing something that put himself in the position where honestly he might have been able to do better. I'm not saying Garp did a bad job with either of them. They're both important, strong, confident men, right? But Garp definitely won Dad of the Year. He was no Henry Allen, and I dare somebody to stand against me on that, right? Like, go ahead. I would love to hear the argument that Monkey D. Garp was a better dad than Henry Allen. Like, please hit me up with that one. Truly, I would. Please convince me that Hank Allen isn't the greatest dad of all time. But let's go ahead and move on because, man, I'm getting carried away talking about Dragon. Oh, no, and don't worry, I'm not going to be doing another Dragon video. I had a lot of fun making that one, but I'm going to go ahead and let Dragon simmer on the back burner. Next time I get some lore, I'll be back though. Moving along though, we're going to talk about the Celestial Dragons because these SOBs are the living embodiment of pure evil, right? Like if they existed in another franchise, they would be the eternal sins from Diablo, right? Asmodan, Belial, and Diablo. Like these fools are. We've heard about the savagery of these human hunting games, right? Like it's, I don't want to say teased because I don't think it's something anybody really wanted to see the full depth of, right? But man, actually seeing this in action, it's wild. Like just innocent people, and not even just, man, like, you know, a lot of cultures in history have had that bit where, you know, they'll come in, they'll take over another civilization, kill off all the men, and marry the women to families in their culture to kind of snuff out the flame of that old civilization. The Greeks did it a lot to themselves. Rome did it a lot. Like a lot of the really strong civilizations have kind of done this, right? And man, like just everybody, even the kids, man, seeing seeing this mom begging, like, please just spare our child. Like, hey, whatever, if you have to off me, you have to off me. I don't get it, but whatever. But please, for the love of all things good with the name Nika, please spare my child. And then you get bang, bang, bang. It's not hard to see what's being insinuated here, right? Like, these fools are pure evil. Sure, you know, you got a few good ones in there, right? Like you had Homing, you had Mulesgard, the guy who was crucified at the latest reverie. Like you got a few good apples in the bunch, but I mean, man, for the most part, these are, it's evil. And man, getting to see it on display, I wasn't ready for it, man. I don't know about y'all, but like that bang 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 got me, man. It hit like in the core of my being. It got me. And then to follow it up, seeing Summers being the same a-hole that he's being on Elbaf, like, you just know that dad got there. Like, he probably even allowed the dad to get there in time, fall under his son just to find out his son was wrapped in invisible thorns that killed his dad on impact. Like, that's the kind of summers we were introduced to on Elbaf, at least. Am I wrong? Am I the only one who thinks that that's how events played out with summers right there? Like, and it's wild. Even this Den Den Mushi looks like it is judging this man. Like, bro, did you really? And of course, everybody on Marie Joie is all, woo, yeah! Human hunting game, that's my shit! Evil. Just evil. It's, man. And, you know, I wasn't quite sure where to put this, but I'm going to bring it up here before leading into the second little revelation with Dragon. And I will do better to keep this one short. You guys have my word. I will try to keep myself concise this time. Because the real point here is the clothing on everybody. Now, I found it peculiar earlier in the chapter. I was noticing you got all these people running around in white shirts with targets on the back. It makes sense for a hunting game, but like, come on, did the world government really roll up and manage to convince everybody to change? Like, hey, so before we kill you guys, to make it a little more entertaining for us, put these shirts on. I got targets on them, just, you know, it'll be more for us so we know how many points to give people. Like, bruh, nah, man. And even if that is how they did it, how many people are putting on that shirt, right? And then this, like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm still a little confused. Is this supposed to be Dragon's platoon, or was this just some aftermath that Dragon came upon while running across the island after seeing his platoon, right? Or was Dragon's platoon targeted by the Marines going into God Valley? Like, maybe they were dispatched to God Valley specifically to be part of the hunting game, right? Because as much sense as it doesn't make for the citizens of God Valley to change, it makes even less sense for these Marines to willingly change into these uniforms, right? So is this one of Emu's little black grimoire magic things where they just magicked these white shirts with targets onto everybody who was a potential target? Or is there a devil fruit that alters clothing? You know, I really wanted to make a callback to Undead Unluck right there, but I'm forgetting what the Uma name for Clothy was, right? The uniform that Andy always wore because dude hated wearing clothes. I'm sorry, spoilers if anybody's just now reading or watching Undead Unluck. Yes, Andy never wears clothes, and Uma ends up making a contract with him to be his clothes. I apologize, I spoiled that. But it's kind of like that idea, right? Like, is there somebody who can control clothing present on the island or able to affect the island? It's just really peculiar that everybody who was a target happened to be wearing these targets, including what seems to be Dragon's platoon. And, you know, quick side note about that, because in 1159, when Dragon and all them landed, we found out that they were given tranquilizer guns. But now that the games have kicked off and, you know, stuff's really getting rolling, it doesn't seem like everybody was given tranquilizer guns. So confirmation that Dragon and his platoon were being targeted. Now, why would the platoon be targeted, right? Because there's no guarantee anybody else on that squad was buying into whatever Dragon was. There's no guarantee Dragon was saying anything. But here's what I think it boils down to, right? Like, you got one person who you know has these anti-establishment views, right? Like, things need to change mentality. But you want the status quo to stay. You don't even want to risk that person having time to affect anybody else's thinking, right? And, you know, seeing as it does appear like Dragon has been with the Marines for at least a little bit, at least enough that the sub commander in 1159 pointed out to the lead guy, like, hey, I apologize for him. It's been happening, but he just wasn't raised with much discipline. Please just give him a pass. We got this. Dragon would be somebody that the world government would want to target because, unlike his dad, unlike Garp, Dragon doesn't seem to have that mentality of, okay, play by the rules to accomplish my own goal later. So he would be somebody that the Marines would see as a threat. And because he's spent time with these people, you then also, I guess, have to consider everybody in that platoon tainted, because there's a possibility they've heard some of this anti-establishment mumbo jumbo from Dragon. And that's cold, dude. Like that itself might even play a part in Dragon not wanting to team up with Eva and Kuma right away, right? As they're leaving the island, maybe Eva says something like, hey, I saw what you did, Marine boy. Why don't you roll with us since you seem to want to do good? And Dragon's like, nah. Thinking to himself, I failed those boys and I failed my entire platoon. Everybody I was supposed to save is dead. Again, feeding into that mentality we have now. But don't get into it, Barlow. Time to move on. Last couple points. Rox continues to be a master manipulator. He's here to save his wife and son, but hyping up the entire crew like, let's go get Shaki and those devil fruits, boys. We going in. Roger's getting dunked on. Now, this one I do kind of want to take a hot second to talk about, because I feel like a lot of people are going to take this as Roger's legacy continuing to be tarnished, right? And I'm sitting there like, this panel reminds me of Luffy. Like, didn't we get something like this between Wano and Egghead? Didn't Nami cage and beat the bloody brakes off of Luffy while they were heading from Wano to Egghead because Luffy jumped the damn Thousand Sunny off the side of a mountain? I don't know. I understand. I can see, especially with how Rox is being really built up and leaned into in this flashback, right? I could see how this is just more shots fired at Rogers, right? But I think personally I'm gonna choose to look at this panel as a reminder that Luffy is like Roger. As much as Zebek's dreams and ambition and the way he thinks and all that might align with some of what Luffy does, I think this is Oda's way of reminding us, like, hey guys, yeah, I've been really leaning into Rox, but remember that Roger is the mirror, the earlier look at Luffy. Roger is what Luffy was modeled after, basically, right? Like, just a quick little reminder, like, hey, I'm glad everybody's been enjoying this, but don't forget that Roger is our guy. So just that quick flash to Roger getting ran over by his crew, like, oh, what you gonna talk about? I ain't got a chance with Shaki. Bro, I got just as much a chance as you. I'm going in. And okay, I got a long note about Garp real quick. That's right. I think Garp is... I'm kind of taking Garp over the course of this flashback, because I think it was a few chapters ago when Garp found out that Zebek and Roger were headed for God's Valley, right? And he's like, oh, okay, well, in that case, I'm going in. I think the fact that maybe he was offered, maybe it was like, hey, would you want to be a part of this security detail? And he's like, nah, I'm good on that. And then later found out a reason to go. But the fact that he was allowed to refuse a security detail and then allowed to choose to go on his own merit plays a part in the theory that Dragon was being set up in this moment. Dragon was intended to be part of the human hunting game and a target worth points to the participants. Because Dragon wasn't given a choice. He was, you're going in. And to double down on you're going in, you're also not getting something lethal. You're getting a tranquilizer gun. Even though everybody else is getting a regular butt gun, you are getting a tranquilizer gun. So you're not going to be on fair grounds with anybody else. And we made sure your dad wasn't going to be here. We built it up in a way that we knew he wasn't going to want the detail. They didn't know that Rox and Zebek were going to get involved, which in turn was going to force Garp's hand. But hey, you know what? The stage is set and the legends are present. Man, break next week. Oh, I'm going to have to come up with some stuff to talk about next week because I'm going to be honest. Most of the theories I got rolling right now are about Dragon, and I just did a Dragon video. I don't want to do the Amazon Lily thing again, take up too much time on the channel talking about one subject, especially if I could have consolidated some of those videos. I do admit I could have consolidated some of the Amazon Lily and Tritoma stuff. But let me know. Would you guys like to hear some more thoughts about Dragon with the new revelations we got in 1160? Do y'all think I should have waited to drop that one with the what's up, Alice? With the new heat that we got? As always, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. And if a YouTube comment isn't enough for you, feel free to come and hit up me and Alice in the Barlow Zone Discord community. I'll make sure to drop a link to that in the description. And as always, you can find me on the socials at Barlow Be Theorizing. I hope y'all have a great day. Much love, friends.